I would never have imagined that the woman with whom I shared my life for more than 10 years would be able to look at me with such public contempt. I had already seen her get excited at home, but there, in front of the judge, in front of lawyers, assistants, and even my 7-year-old daughter, it was different. She didn't just want to win the audience. She wanted to destroy me. Her voice cut through the air as a final accusation. "He doesn't deserve anything." The silence that came after was heavy. Everything we had built together seemed to have been erased in a single scream from her. My daughters hooked my hand in fear, not understanding the size of that cruelty. I took a deep breath and remained silent, not because I had nothing to say, but because there, at that very moment, I realized that I didn't need to win by shouting. I had seen this scene before, in other couples who lost control, but I never thought it would be me. I've always been the kind of man who gets up and works. I started with little. I grew up in a simple neighborhood of Houston, Texas. My father was a night watchman and my mother was a clerk in a supermarket. No luxury, just dignity. While many in my neighborhood let themselves be carried away by the easy path, I chose the difficult one, studying, dedicating myself, and grabbing every opportunity that arose. I built my career in the logistics and security industry. I went through different positions, always learning, always delivering more than what was expected of me. Today I am the chief operating officer of one of the largest special cargo transportation companies in the United States. Nothing came for free. All the cars, the house in a gated community, every investment, every penny. Everything was conquered brick by brick. I remember the first time my ex-wife saw the house I bought before I even met her. She was dazzled. He said he never imagined living such a comfortable life. She loved the status my position provided. Expensive restaurants, parties with businessmen, surprise trips to Miami. She felt part of royalty. I felt only responsible. She lived glory. I lived the charge. When our daughter was born, I thought everything would change. And in a way, it has changed. For me. I started getting home earlier whenever I could. I wanted to be present. I wanted to be the kind of father that my father didn't have a chance to be because he worked nights and nights. But for her, the change came in another way. She started to treat me like a walking wallet. I always wanted more. I always thought it was little. I gave love to my daughter and money to her mother, and yet she said that I didn't do my part. At first I thought it was maternal stress. Then I realized it was pure greed. She started pushing for a new car, even though she already had one. I wanted designer clothes. He wanted luxurious parties I wanted to show off. One day, in the middle of a dinner with friends, she said, laughing but with truth in her voice, "I deserve all this because I was the one who made him become someone." That hurt me more than it should have. I had already noticed that she saw me as a prize, not as a husband. There I realized that they'd greed. I had the documents. The situation worsened when I found out that she was hiding some suspicious conversations and encounters. I didn't want to fight. He didn't want any trouble. I just wanted to protect my daughter. I filed for divorce and the house became a minefield. She called me everything she could to try to hit me. He said that I was absent, cold, that I didn't care about my family. Meanwhile, my daughter slept hugging my chest, because with me she felt safe. When we arrived at that court, I already knew that she was going to try to turn the hearing into a spectacle. And she succeeded, or thought he had succeeded. "He doesn't deserve anything," she repeated as if she were speaking to an audience that would applaud her hatred. I was silent, but inside me, something screamed. The judge asked her to calm down and turned his attention to the documents in the case. There was the truth. Messages from her, the same ones I had to print to defend myself. In one of them, she wrote to a friend, "I'm going to take everything from him. You want him to learn who's in charge now." Her lawyer tried to prevent it from being read, but the judge was direct. When that phrase echoed through the room, she lost the color of her face. I didn't celebrate. I just shook my daughter's hand as if to say, "Everything will be fine." They wanted to hurry. I had time. When the judge read that message, silence took over the room as if the world had stopped for a few seconds. I could see her eyes blinking fast, looking for some explanation that didn't exist. Her mask fell before everyone, but that was not yet the end of the attempt to destroy me. She took a deep breath, lifted her chin, and tried to reverse the situation by saying that I was manipulating everything, that I had made up those messages, that I was a liar. Her lawyer asked to invalidate the evidence, saying it was stuff of a controlling husband. I didn't react. I sat firmly. I learned that those who speak less are more likely to be heard. The judge watched my daughter, small, with her little eyes scared and her hand clasped to mine. That moved him. He asked her lawyer to focus on the child's well-being, not personal attacks. She snorted, crossed her arms, and looked at me with hatred. I already knew that look. The look of someone who doesn't care about anyone, as long as they get what they want. And at that moment, what she wanted was everything that belonged to me. She wanted the house, the cars, even the shares I invested for our daughter's future. She said that it was hers because of the right to coexistence. Winnick knew that what she really wanted was to prove that she could overthrow me. I had asked for shared custody and was willing to keep a pension, private school, health insurance, and everything my daughter needed. But she wanted more. She wanted my daughter to stay with her entirely. He claimed that I traveled too much because of work, that my routine was not adequate. But the truth was simple. She never wanted to take care of anything that took work. My daughter had a nanny practically since the first year of life. Not because I was not present, but because she did not want to give up her social life to be a mother. Her lawyer insisted on the same repeated accusations, that I was distant, that I put work above family, that for me everything was money. I felt like standing up and saying that it was exactly because of my work that our daughter always had education, health, a roof, and stability, while she spent without worrying about tomorrow. But I knew that if I raised the tone, if I treated that environment like a ring, I might lose the only argument that really mattered. I was stable and present, without shouting, without humiliating, without having to prove by screaming a truth that stood alone. She, on the other hand, had no brakes. He started talking about my salary out loud as if numbers were weapons. He said that I hid money, that I had secret accounts, that I paid more attention to the company's profits than to my own daughter. Her lawyer tried to hold on, but she was blinded by greed. The judge asked for silence twice. In the third, he threatened to suspend her from the hearing. I saw despair flashing across her face. She didn't want to be silenced. She wanted the stage. I looked at my daughter and tried to keep a serene smile. She didn't understand every word, but she felt the mood. She felt the weight of her mother's anger. She trembled. I pulled her close and whispered that everything was fine. And at that moment I stopped being a victim. I became an observer. I watched the woman I once loved become unrecognizable in the face of her own ambition. I observed how willing she was to destroy her own daughter's peace just to prove a stupid point. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up. I was nervous, but my voice came out firm. I told her that I had always maintained a close relationship with my daughter, that all my work schedules were adjusted to fit her routine. He said that I participated in school meetings, took him to the doctor, made breakfast on weekends. That, even tired from long days, I still read stories before going to sleep. She said that the work was heavy because I was keen to give her a secure future. I didn't blame the mother. I didn't go over the past. I just put the truth on the table. Her lawyer tried to interrupt me, but the judge ordered me to be allowed to conclude. I took a breath and ended by saying that I just wanted my daughter to have a balanced and healthy life, and that I would never take away from her the right to live with her mother. The judge was silent for a few seconds, absorbing. They wanted to hurry. I had time. When I sat back, my daughter leaned her head against my arm as if to say, "I believe in you." And that was the greatest victory anyone could have in that courtroom. When the referee asked for a 10-minute break, I felt my breathing return to its normal rhythm. Still, my heart didn't completely relax. I knew she had more cards up her sleeve. She always had. During the pause, she approached me with that crooked smile that only she could do when she planned a coup. He whispered in my ear, "Do you think you won anything today? I'm still going to take it all from you." The coldness of that sentence even chilled my back, but I just looked at her and said, "What you lose today will not have been taken away by me, but by yourself." She turned her back angrily as if I had spoken the truth she most wanted to avoid. My daughter kept holding my hand and looking at me as if she wanted to understand what was behind all that battle. I wanted to protect her from all this, from any trauma, from any painful memory. But sometimes, even when we do everything right, life still hurts the most innocent. I took a deep breath and promised myself it would end there. I would do everything for her to have peace. When we returned to the courtroom, the judge said he would review more documents before making any decisions. It was then that her lawyer presented a folder that he had held since the beginning, but had not shown it yet. I was already expecting a low blow, and that was exactly it. He claimed that I did concealment of assets, that I had transferred part of my money to an international account so as not to share it with her. I felt my whole body twitch. I looked at my daughter, who was sitting quietly, playing with her own little fingers to distract herself from that adult war. I couldn't miss it at that moment. The judge flipped through the papers while her lawyer tried to construct a false narrative that I was trying to harm her financially. But the judge frowned. He began to read aloud. Business account of sole responsibility of Mr. He stopped, looked up and asked, "Are these values related to the company's investments?" I confirmed it with a simple shake of my head. He flipped through a few more pages and asked another question. "These applications have been around since before marriage, correct?" I answered plainly, "Yes, sir." The judge closed the folder and, with firm serenity, said, "So this does not constitute concealment, it is prenuptial patrimony." Her face contorted as if she had been slapped invisibly. Her lawyer tried to insist, but the judge cut him off. "Don't allow this hearing to turn into a spectacle of baseless accusations." It was the answer I needed. It was the moment when everything began to turn. My daughter quickly raised her head, as if she had felt a weight disappear from there. And that's exactly when the judge asked them to call the court's psychologist, who had done interviews with our daughter during the process. I wasn't afraid of the truth. I knew who I was as a father. He knew the love I put into every effort, every decision. When the psychologist entered, she brought a simple folder in her hands, with the report that could change everything. She introduced herself and began to read passages where my daughter clearly said that she felt safe with me, that I took care of her when she had a stomachache, that I made heart-shaped pancakes on Sundays, that I helped with school assignments, and that I always said that she was my greatest gift. When the psychologist mentioned that our daughter was afraid of her mother's screams, her lawyer stood up right away to protest, but the judge asked to let her continue. The psychologist concluded by saying that the best thing for the child would be to maintain a balanced relationship with both, but that it was evident who guaranteed more emotional stability in the day-to-day. And at that moment, I stopped being accused and started to be recognized. The truth was there, told by the one who mattered most, my daughter. She was my greatest lawyer without even realizing it. My ex's look changed. It was no longer just anger. It was fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of losing what she always thought she would have guaranteed. Financial advantages and a social position that did not belong to her, but that she enjoyed as if it were eternal. I was silent, but inside me something screamed victory. Those professional words, that heartfelt account, had more power than any malicious document or accusation. I looked at my daughter and smiled with teary eyes. She didn't know it, but she had just saved both of us. The judge took a deep breath and said he already had enough elements to make a decision. He told us to wait seated, because he would return with the opinion. As he walked away, I felt my heart beat faster. The moment of truth had come. They wanted to hurry. I had time. The room was quieter than ever when the judge returned. He brought with him a set of papers that seemed heavier than the whole process. He sat down, put on his glasses, and looked directly at us. I held my daughter's hand tightly. I could feel her heart racing, almost jumping out of her chest. She didn't know exactly what was happening, but she felt the tension in the air. The judge began to speak calmly, without haste. I heard every word as if it were hammers knocking on a door that would finally open. He said he analyzed all the documents presented, all the statements, all the professional reports. He said it was clear that there was an emotionally unstable environment when the child was in the mother's care. And he reinforced that, contrary to what she claimed, I was always a present and committed father, and that there was no evidence to support the discourse that I was absent or negligent. My ex tried to interrupt, but this time her own lawyer held her, realizing that any word said there could make the situation worse. The judge continued, "The court needs to protect the child above any personal interest." That sentence hit me hard. It was everything I wanted from the beginning. Not money, not revenge, not showing who was right. I just wanted peace for my daughter. At that moment, I already knew that victory was near, but I remained silent. I didn't need to celebrate ahead of time. When the judge read the final decision, I felt my legs almost fail. Shared custody, with main residence with me. The mother would have visits and socializing guaranteed, but under professional guidance until her behavior was reevaluated. In addition, he kept my assets protected, since they were acquired before the marriage and supported by me throughout all these years. She would not have the right to the house, to the shares, to anything that was not directly linked to the well-being of our daughter. Her gaze faded completely. It was no longer fury. It was shock. She sat slowly in her chair, as if she had finally understood what she was missing. Not the money, not the house, but the authority she thought she had over everything, including the life I helped create. She always believed she could win by screaming. I realized that I didn't have tone by shouting. When the judge asked if I wanted to make use of the final word, I just thanked him for his attention and sensitivity to my daughter's situation. I looked at her and said, "I never meant to take anything away from you. I just want our daughter to grow up without fear." She looked away. Perhaps for the first time, he felt ashamed of what he did. The hearing is over. I stood up and hugged my daughter. She looked at me and asked in that low voice full of innocence, "Can we go home now?" I smiled. Not that smile of victory, but of relief. Yes, we could finally go home. The judge concluded by saying, "Sometimes the best answer is written in a notary's office." And I never forgot that phrase, because in that courtroom I learned that silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. They had greed. I had the documents. They wanted to hurry. I had time. And in the end, time has shown who really stood with love and truth. When we left that room, the hallway looked like another place. She was a few steps behind, accompanied by her lawyer. There were no more screams, no more accusations. She stared at the floor as if she were trying to pick up the pieces of pride she had broken over the course of that hearing. For a moment, my heart considered feeling sorry, but it passed quickly. Who decides to hurt someone in the most sensitive place? Who tries to tear off even what guarantees the safety of a child? He needs to learn from his own choices. My daughter hugged me around the waist as we walked towards the parking lot. She seemed lighter, as if he had felt even without understanding that the storm was ending. I put her in the car seat and she smiled for the first time that day. It was a small, shy smile, but full of hope. And that was the only outcome that really mattered to me. Before getting in the car, I looked back. My ex was standing at the exit of the courthouse, motionless, watching with a lost look. It was not the look of someone who hates. It was the look of someone who realized that he had lost control of everything he thought he dominated. She tried to get closer, but I signaled with my hand for her to wait. He only said, "Our daughter deserves peace." She swallowed the words that were stuck in her throat and agreed with a weak nod. Perhaps there was a chance for change that was born. Perhaps. Already in the car, our daughter asked if we could stop by the park before going home. I laughed softly, relieved, and said yes. Because at that moment, nothing was more important than giving her back the right to be a child. We arrived at the park and she ran towards the swing, as if she were finding freedom again. I sat on one of the benches and finally breathed like someone who ended a war. As I watched her play, the thought brought me everything I had experienced so far. The years of hard work, renunciations, struggle to build a dignified life. Every penny I earned was hard-earned. Each achievement was built responsibly. I've never had to knock anyone down to climb a step. And yet, I was treated as if I had no value, as if I were just a number, an open safe waiting to be looted. But in that courtroom, I learned the most important lesson. No one takes away what has been conquered with truth. They can try to distort your image, they can scream, lie, threaten, but character is not falsified. And what my daughter saw today, she will take with her for life. Not war, but the way I fought, without humiliating, without matching what they tried to do to me. She ran back to me, laughing that she had managed to reach the highest swing. He jumped on my lap and hugged me tightly. "Dad, we're always going to be together, right?" I held her face in my hands and replied, "Always. This is the greatest commitment of my life." She rested her head on my shoulder and stood there quietly, as if she had finally found her safe place. The sun was already going down when we decided to go home. On the way, she slept in the back seat with a tired but calm smile. I looked in the rearview mirror and felt something different. It was not victory. It was a new beginning. It was the feeling that the worst was over, and now the future could be built with calm, love, and truth. Sometimes justice does not reach the cry. Sometimes it arrives in silence. In the silence of the man who knows who he is. In the silence of those who do not need to prove their worth. In the silence of those who protect what matters even when they try to tear everything away. And there, driving back home, it became clear to me. They had greed. I had the documents. They wanted to destroy me. I just wanted to live in peace. And peace. That's exactly what I won.